Detroit area may be best known for its Motor City heritage and economic struggles, but it is also a place where influential music and iconic stars came forward. From soul to hard rock to massively important publications, Detroit's significance to the music industry is undeniable. In the early 50s, rock and roll hadn't really taken off. This was soon to change as a young Michigan native, Bill Haley, came into play.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock.
Often referred to as rock and roll's first star, he is likely best known for his song Rock Around the Clock, which has re-entered the British charts 7 times since it was released in 1953. According to Bill Haley, his style mixed country and western with rhythm and blues, which resulted in rock and roll. Rock Around the Clock was a huge hit and helped launch rock and roll into the mainstream. Bill Haley had sparked rock and roll's fire, and it began blasting across the country. If there's one sound that Detroit might be best known for, it's the Motown sound.
Baby, 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 don't leave me. Ooh, please.
Even in the early days, Motown was known for producing consistently high-quality singles, and as time went on, so did Motown's success. Much of the success may have stemmed from founder Berry Gordy's approach to producing music within Motown.
It's just like the auto factory. I used to see those cars coming in, a bare metal frame, and they got a brand new car. So I said, wait a minute, why can't I do that with music, my music and with the people I work with?
Music was treated like a factory product, being heavily checked by quality control before release. The goal was that every single would become a hit, and this manufacturing-inspired system worked. Eddie Holland and Lamont Dozier, in particular, became a power team for producing the Supremes and helped define what the Motown sound would be. Generally, that sound involved a simple structure with sophisticated melodies, a 4-beat drum pattern, background vocals, horns and strings, a pop gospel-style lead singer, a talented band, and finally, a trebly mix designed for AM radio. These elements combined helped connect music produced by the label and create a distinct and recognizable sound. Motown would go on to be a major player in the music industry, featuring artists such as the Jackson 5, Lionel Richie, and Rick James. With rock and roll gaining popularity, it was about time for a publication to start covering the topic in depth. And that need fell upon the shoulders of Barry Kramer, founder of Cream magazine. The magazine started small. So small, Kramer was distributing it from the trunk of his car. But the magazine, boldly proclaiming itself to be America's only rock and roll magazine, began to kick off, launching many artists into the public eye and creating a more critical and honest look at the genre than any other music magazine. The magazine chose to locate itself in Detroit to capitalize on the music scene. But Detroit wasn't done as a major musical influence, because rock and roll, particularly hard rock, was beginning to make some major breakthroughs in the area. Few bands better signify this than MC5 and Iggy and the Stooges.
Kick out the jazz, motherfucker!
MC5 began with local gigs in parties and hangouts, messing around with distortion and feedback. This was until they caught the eye of John Sinclair, Detroit's king of the hippies. With Sinclair's help, the band gained popularity, but also became linked to their controversial and radical politics. The band became heavily involved in the White Panther Party, a group dedicated to assaulting culture and the establishment. For this reason, the group's wild music was frequently censored and had difficulty finding mainstream success. This, along with the drug use, would force the band into bankruptcy. During MC5's rising popularity, another hard rock band was making its first strides.
Forever a dog!
Iggy and the Stooges opened for MC5 in 1968 and were signed by an Elektra talent scout. Like MC5, the Stooges were visceral and rebellious, both in their image and their music. Their lead singer in particular, Iggy Pop, was notorious for his wild stage antics, which ranged from smearing himself in blood or peanut butter to having his body cut with glass on stage. Unfortunately for the group, they also struggled to gain any mainstream success and found themselves with pitiful record sales and a band-wide drug problem. While Iggy and the Stooges have come and gone time and time again with the help of David Bowie, the band has never truly been a success. However, both bands have become major influences for the punk genre. Their wild, drug-addled performances, abrasive musical style, and counterculture image was a major influence for groups in the 1990s. Nirvana cites Iggy and the Stooges as being a major influence, and another Detroit native, Alice Cooper, says both the Stooges and MC5 have helped him form his style.
Coolest rock scene going was Detroit. You know, I mean, there was New York, LA, London, everything, but the Detroit bands were hard rock bands. I mean, they were, they were like animals up.
So whether it be the powerhouse of Motown or the smaller hard rock bands that paved the way for future artists, the impact of Detroit's music is staggering. The Motor City will undoubtedly be remembered as an iconic birthplace of some of the world's most interesting and controversial works of music.